you get the call and this is happening, and I was like, oh my God, I've just played my last ever professional game in netball. I didn't even know it.
I just keep getting whacked in the head.
Yeah.
If you took another knock, you'd probably be fine, but when you've got the career over here with the legal side, why would you sort of take that risk?
I just think you are so lucky with that. Not lucky because you worked hard. I think you've got to allow them time to grieve.
Yeah.
Like actually let them do it and validate their feelings and all of that, because it is, the more if you say, hey, it's no big deal, it's not achieving anything. Like you actually need to put it to bed.
What is it about you that's opened up those doors, do you think?
The team sport thing is, I reckon, massive, like life skills. And
I was pretty proud of you for that, because I could see how much, retiring before you wanted to was upsetting. As they say, athletes die twice, like when they die and when you retire.
Well, guys, I appreciate you being here with me. Joined in the studio today by Storm Purvis, Northern Mystics star, Southern Steel star, ex-Silver Fern, and of course her husband Dan.
Thanks, Presto.
Nah, I'm just joking, bro.
Usually pretty much.
So, Dan, in your own right, mate, 10-year rugby professional, pretty much?
Oh, we'll say 10.
Ish, yeah. And both of you guys really, 10-year athletes, would you say, like?
Yeah, I mean, I had 10 years signed at the ANZ, and then obviously kind of 10 years before that trying to get there, as a kid.
Yeah.
I think I was about 3 or 4 Presto, but it's a bit of GST.
It counts, bro, and we had that special year. Let's not take it back.
A very special year.
Yeah, 2016. We might touch on that later, but Storm, I wanted to ask you, just to break the ice, were your parents massive X-Men fans?
This is one of the leading questions I've had throughout my entire life and career.
Really? Am I not the first?
No.
I thought it was really clever.
Well, it's been a while, to be fair. Not even other X-Men fans, just like, were you conceived in a storm, or was it rainy when you were born? And no, I have such a boring story. There is no story. They just like the name.
It is a cool name.
I mean, that's all there is to it.
It is a cool name. It's a powerful name.
Thank
I've got
you.
a cousin called Stormy.
Yeah, boy or girl?
Boy.
Yeah, they're all boys.
Yeah.
They're all boys.
So, but I think Storm's cool. Very cool. And as a father of 2 daughters, I think about girls' names, Yeah. And so, yeah, man. You guys have got a couple of daughters, eh?
We do. We've got young Daisy, who is, she's 2 and a bit. And she is full noise. And then we've got
Hurricane Daisy.
Yeah, Hurricane Storm. And then we've got Indigo, who's just gone 4 months. So she's, I think I said to you earlier, Press, a bit of a potato.
Yeah.
Still quite young, but no, she's pretty cute. And
They are chalk and cheese.
they're very different.
Yeah.
They look different. They act different so far.
Yeah.
Stop you there. You know what's funny? They look so different, but they both look like Dan.
Really?
Like neither of them look like me at all. And
Lucky things.
they just, it's
Not yet, eh?
no.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No.
Well, my wife she's got brown skin. I've got white skin. She always says, how in the world did this brown girl have these 2 little whiteys?
Normally, sometimes you get one of each.
Yeah,
Are they both?
yeah.
They're both pretty.
They're both
pale.
kind of caramello,
Okay.
But I honestly just see little white versions of me.
Yeah.
They got
her?
Yeah, man, they
right,
got
yeah.
Mihi's face, Mihi's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
her little butter nose, and I'm like, it's just
probably
a
good
couple
thing
of
though,
shades
eh?
lighter.
Brother looking like Dad.
Hard out. But that's one of the reasons why I appreciate it so much for you guys being here, because literally had to book the babysitter, both of us, really. So that's really cool. And the real reason for doing this is that hopefully if there's a couple of athletes or ex-athletes listening, or even business people who are interested in that transition that we do, hopefully this can encourage them, And so, Storm, I just want to touch on your career quickly, because obviously you reached the heights of wearing the silver Fern dress. Be honest, I know about the 2022 game where you got to come back and reach 100 games at ANZ level. That's amazing. Yeah. But game number 99, did you know that was your last game?
No, I really didn't. So that was the good old COVID days, and it was the early days of COVID days. So I always knew it was going to be my last season. And I think we had 3 regular season games to go when I had that 99 game. And then we went into lockdown.
Oh, wow.
And literally like a few days after that 99 game, we got told that they were just going to can the season for anyone who wasn't in finals. So if you're top of the table, so the top 2 teams, I can't remember who it was at the time, just went straight and played a final under lockdown conditions, and everyone else was like, your season's over. And I hadn't told anyone that it was my last season or anything like that, apart from the coach, and because I didn't want it to be a big deal. But then when that whole kind of like experience gets taken away from you, it was really sad.
True.
Like, it was going to be my 100th game. I was going to finish on probably 102 caps, I think. And then I was going to say, bye guys, like mic drop kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then you get the call and this is happening. And I was like, oh my God, I've just played my last ever professional game in netball. I didn't even know it. And after like 10 years of playing in that league, it was pretty heartbreaking. To be honest. I was pretty sad about it, weirdly, because I don't normally care about those kind of things, but I think because it had just been such a big part of my life, to have it kind of like stop there and then without having time to process it was kind of weird. So I was 99 all out, I guess, and I thought that was going to be my story, and it was for about a year, and then I got the old call. A bit of an SOS, and I would have usually said no, but it was the Stars, so they were my old team, and Kerry Wills, the coach, I could hear the desperation in her voice. She was obviously desperate. She was calling me. And she's like, it'll be your 100th game, and then, you can just have it done, and I really need you. Everyone's injured, blah, blah, blah. We can't get anyone else to come. So, I just did it. I thought,
Didn't they stitch you up and say you'll be on the bench?
Yeah,
so
when Kerry called me, she was like, you're fine. We'll just put you on the bench. You might get a second here or there, we'll give you 100. And then I get down, it was in Hamilton, get down to captain's run, and she calls out the starting lineup. She's like, goal keep, Storm. I was like,
oh man.
What? And I hadn't trained or done anything for a year at this point. So it was pretty wild. But yeah.
When you say you were planning on it being your last year, was that the body? Was that the knees?
Pretty much, mostly.
Okay.
It was a mix of both, and because of the body, I guess.
Yeah.
I was going to have my 4th knee surgery at the end of that season, which meant another off season of recovery, and then a delay into the preseason and not really being around. I'm always on managed minutes. I can barely train. We save my body to play, and I just thought, A, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
I'm over it. And B, it felt really unfair on the rest of the team and like the coaches even, that I would just not train throughout the week and then expect to show up and play, and it just didn't feel right. And I had really enjoyed 10 years. I was feeling good about my netball, and I just thought, you can be in control of when you finish. Yeah. And so it was half like injuries, ruled me out, but also I felt in control of the decision, which was pretty cool.
It wasn't going to just happen all of a sudden one day.
Yeah.
Your career is a little bit different to me and Dan, because you were playing professionally from 18. Yeah, so me and Dan were kind of like late bloomers,
We grafted, man.
When did you really crack into playing rugby for a living?
I was, even at school, I was like the small dude. And even in the 7th.
Still are.
Thanks. Even in my last year of school, like my first 15 year, that's your last year. I didn't even start the first few games of that season. And I sort of toiled away at high school, and then I made the academy with Harbour.
Cool.
And it was sort of the first time it was like, okay, like you could potentially have a future.
To
an extent. And then I sort of just, I just sort of stuck at it. And ended up going through the academy system, the Harbour second 15, and then eventually signed my first gig, the NPC. I was 21, I think it was.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, thanks to old Rennie Ranger and Peter Aki, both got injured. Yeah. So I was waiting there. I think had season at the time in 16. Was dead. Season-ending injury. So last one standing.
Cool.
locally.
Cool. But it is a bit late in like 21. In terms of rugby players these days, because we're 100%. Getting signed at like 17.
Oh, there's kids in school getting NPC, super gigs, for sure. So in the scheme of things, it's probably a bit late. I think I debuted signed 21, debuted 22 sort of thing. So it wasn't as early as some of them.
I get it, man. I only played my best footy, I think, after the age of 22. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
It takes a while, eh?
Yeah. They say, though, you play 27, I think, is the golden year. You play your best sport at 27.
Really?
Yep.
And that's downhill, 27 club.
And then it's downhill. We were both 27 when we retired.
Yeah, I think I was finished at 27, 26.
Yeah, this is my next question is, okay, first of all, how did you guys meet? And then who had to stop playing sport first?
Ooh. The first answer.
Here we go.
You'll get your gauge on this as to who made the first move, okay? So you'll recall that in 2017 we lost to Canterbury. down in Christchurch in the semi-final.
Yep.
And I was back at having a couple of raspberry cokes back at the stadium here on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And Storm had followed me on Instagram about a week prior.
Classic stalk, yeah.
So she was the first move.
I follow lots of people.
There we go. And then I ended up, as I said, we're having our drinks in here, and I shouldn't take life advice from him, but I did. Mr. Sean Stevenson.
Nice.
He goes, mate, just
Dutch courage.
Bit of Dutch courage, bit of courage from a mate to my side.
100%.
He goes, just message her.
Yeah.
Reply to her story. So I did, and we yarned on
Instagram for
DMs
a bit,
for a little while, and then we caught up eventually. But we obviously were based out of Millennium Centre with Harbour. Storm's up there with the Mystics at the time, so I'd seen her around and stuff. I followed netball to an extent, so I knew of who she was. But the first meeting, I suppose, was initiated by Storm via an Instagram follow.
Yeah.
And then, from there we yarned a little bit, and then we caught up, and then that was, back in 2017.
Still feel like you made the first move. I don't think it's fair to say I made the first move.
There we go.
But I don't know.
Hey, it was meant to be. It's just chemistry.
We're here now.
It's chemistry.
We're here now.
Also was messaging me on Instagram for like nearly 2 months before he said, let's go on a date. And I was getting so over it. I nearly gave up so many times because I was like, I'm not just having this like text relationship.
Yeah.
Well,
Just took your time.
I was nervous.
You need Shooter to tell you to just hurry up.
I wasn't taking too much advice from Shooter, let's put it that way. But that's sort of how it all happened, and then we just hung out once and it was done, really.
Cool, man. Falling in love happens. It's like a slippery slope, eh?
Yeah.
Things moved
really
quick, and then from there
quick.
was
100%.
What was your second? Who stopped playing first? We had really the same time. I had already made my mind up that it was going to be my last season, and so I think I'd made the decision. Whereas you were back and forth a lot that whole year.
You guys were together, both playing sport though, for a season, eh? Was that?
Yeah, we probably had a couple of years where I was with Harbour and Storms with
Stars then.
Yeah, probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
2 years. But we sort of finished at the same time actually. It was quite nice, I think, to for both of us to be like, oh, it's all done.
Yeah, close that chapter.
At least like the good thing is like Storm understood for us coming from, I understood,
Yeah.
Because sport backgrounds and the decision to finish and then what happens next. Like at least we had each other, which had actually been in hindsight pretty cool to have had that. So
I mean, you'll know this. They say athletes die twice, like when they die and when you retire, because you start life again once you retire.
100%.
So to go through that at the same time and just understand each other and what we were feeling, and it was
helpful.
That was a cheat code for you guys.
Yeah, totally.
That's sure.
Cool. Yeah,
in the middle of COVID as well.
Yes,
it was a crazy time.
Middle of COVID.
Yeah. So.
Your retirement's again a bit different, Dan, because you were concussed, bro, too many times.
Yeah, man. The body was pretty good, still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like in general, I didn't have any major knee, shoulder issues. I was very lucky. But a lot of guys do have. But I just keep getting whacked in the head.
Yeah.
Whether it be literally any level I played, it wasn't just because the bigger hits came at a height. Like any level I played, I always managed to get smacked on the noggin. And it got to the point, it was probably at the stage where I was looking, I played a few years NPC and I was like, should I have a dabble overseas? I'd finished my studies, just come to the end of my studies.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, should I use the experience that I did get here, rugby-wise, to go overseas?
Yeah.
And it was sort of all at that time. And then I took a pretty bad one in a club game. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking with good old Doc Mayhew. And Doc he had absolute legend. He had a yarn to me, and I was going through the processes of being admitted to the bar as a lawyer, and he was just like, potentially, the rugby stuff overseas could happen, or back here in New Zealand still. Mm-hmm. But you got to realise your life's got two little junction at the moment, and if you took another knock, you'd probably be fine, But when you've got the career over here with the legal side, why would you sort of go down take that risk and that sort of thing? And at the same time, it was the COVID year. That I think it was 2020, and the agent I was using was up in Japan. He's, I was coming home for briefly. There's a virus just floating around Asia at the moment, but it would blow over sort of thing, and we never got it. Obviously it was COVID. So, but it sort of happened that way. Really, it was just all came to a head. The final knock I got was about the same time I was going through my last of my admission to the bar stuff, and Doc was there, and we had a yarn, and that's sort of how it came to an end in the end. So it was a bit of a strange one.
Man, for those listening that haven't had a bad concussion, like in their lives, what is it actually like? Like, so you've got a headache, you're foggy, You got to do the bar exam. Like, how did you?
Yeah.
What does that actually feel like to me?
I've had the way I look at it, I'm not an expert, but like I've been done sort of two different ways. When you get knocked and you're like doing the old stanky leg, you know, like you kind of like lose your balance and like or you just get clean KO'd. Honestly, this isn't going to sound weird, but being clean KO'd, it was my recovery. I recovered quicker, I reckon.
Cleaner.
In a weird way.
Wow.
But I don't know, I just always like back of the head on the ground, catching hips and knees, that sort of thing. But you just feel like, when you're in that state, when you've been knocked and you kind of a little bit, it's not drunk, but you kind of, it's a horrible feeling, eh? And in the post stuff with like you said, headaches and fogginess and I was trying to start work at the time in the admission to the bar sort of thing. Just I found the concentration side, like looking at a screen all day doesn't help. But like anyway,
brutal.
Yeah, with that stuff in behind, like I just always felt like
brutal.
Yeah, but
one thing I noticed as well though was your mood.
Yeah, probably.
Like when I first met Dan, everyone would go on about how placid he was and how like nothing bothered him and all this. He was the easiest kid. And I was like, that's not the Dan I know. Like you'd get angry at the tiniest little things, and it would just compound, throughout his rugby season. I reckon that must have been connected.
I think there is probably something, I don't know. That's just my guess. But little things I get. Big things don't really affect me, but little things do.
You just would get so angry, and I'm like, why do you care about this? It's all good.
You're
much better now.
I'm good. I'm sweet now. Like,
it's good now. So it doesn't affect you anymore.
No, all good.
Because when you think about it, I'm a parent like you guys, and I have these days where, like, I've got a big long fuse. People would say it takes a lot to get Presto racked up. But I have these days on 3 or 4 hours sleep or whatnot, broken sleep, and I'm like got road rage. Or I don't know, my computer's not working, and I get upset real quick, and I'm like, it. But that's real interesting with the concussions. You know what? It might be, it's like the clean KO is like turning it off and on at the wall.
That's what I look at it as. You know? I don't know if it's any medical backing to that, but like,
like a reset.
Little reset.
Like restarted your laptop.
I genuinely think there's something to that. I've got no idea, but that's my thought anyway. But
question for you, Storm. So when I had to kind of, I'll say it took me a while, but come to terms with the fact that it was all over, I brought a little bit home, a little bit of, like I said, I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, but a little bit lost, a little bit my version of depression, like, is what I would have brought home. And I know me and Mihi have this funny story where I just broke up with her all of a sudden out of the blue. It's like, nah. I think hindsight's 2020. I look back and I'm like, okay, I just wasn't actually coping with the reality of the change. What was it like for you as Dan's partner? Like, he's all of a sudden had to give up this thing he loves unexpectedly. Was there any of that, first of all? Because I'm just assuming, but...
Yes, I feel weird speaking on your behalf, but you were definitely sad about it. And I know we were both in the same camp that we felt like we didn't quite achieve everything we wanted to. I was growing up thinking I'm going to be Silver Ferns captain and win a World Cup, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And there were things that you still wanted to achieve, and so that really ate you up. I noticed, like, for about a year or so, you just randomly get upset about it. But in terms of like moving on and accepting what life is now, I think we were both very lucky, but I'll speak about you here, that, Dan had studied, he had a law degree, been admitted to the bar, and so he had this great career ready to go. Yeah. And I just think you were so lucky with that. Not lucky because you worked hard and, you were smart to do it. And that just made such a difference. You didn't have time to kind of be too upset or depressed about it. As much as it probably ate you up inside, you knew, hey, okay, well, this is my path now. This is what I'm going to do. Head down and do it. And I was pretty proud of you for that, because I could see how much, retiring before you wanted to was upsetting. But you just got on with it and created this new life and new path. And it was fine. You didn't break up with me, Presto.
Yeah, I don't know if I went that far. It was nice, though, just to be like, footy's done. Eventually when you get over that, footy's done. I've got no ambitions to play anymore overseas and with a contract here. You know what you do? You play in your mind, like, what am I going to sign, or am I? So to actually just cut that, eventually when you get over it, that play life's gone. It
a little bit of relief.
Yeah, a bit of relief, but then just like, sweet. Next is the law stuff.
Yeah.
it's one thing you can focus on, not thinking, do I still have a gig, potential contract here or there, or playing. Now it's go on sweet. Focus is primarily on the legal side. So that was actually quite nice when you eventually cut ties, just to be like, bang, one thing. So
you think practically, like real practically, for anyone who has a partner who's giving up their sport or going through that, is there anything like any tips or tricks you guys would give them?
Ooh. It is hard.
We can come back to it if you want, but like mental skills on how to...
I think you've got to allow them time to grieve.
Yeah,
like actually let them do it and validate their feelings and all of that, because it is, the more if you say, hey, it's no big deal, it's not achieving anything. Like you actually need to put it to bed and give it that time and space. But then you can also, I reckon, like we had such a great year that year after we both retired, because we went on holidays and we got to travel and do all these things that we...
Social events on a Friday night. Social events, we actually went to
friends' parties and got drunk and went out for dinners and stuff that we didn't really get to do when you're playing sport, because you're dedicated to that.
Yeah.
So, yes, give it that time to grieve, but also be like, hey, this is how good life can be. Now we get to do all these things that we never got to do. So you can kind of flick the mentality around it a bit.
It's a reframe, eh?
Yeah.
It's focusing on the silver linings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in it all.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, you guys were lucky to have each other.
I think it's definitely helped. Because we understood, what the other one had done to get to that stage, and finishing up, we knew both sort of how that felt. So Storm was bang on, like having time for ourselves and social stuff, all the extra stuff that she just mentioned. Actually was quite nice and refreshing to be like, sweet, we can do some things we haven't done. Drink a couple more beers maybe or something.
A bit more relaxed. 100%. I know the feeling. Hey Storm, what is it about you? So when you finished up playing, tell us a little bit about that journey also, but you've fallen into media.
Yeah.
What is it about you that's opened up those doors, do you think?
It's funny, like in the same kind of vein as I was talking about Dan, about like retiring and then heading into that next phase of life. I had actually, I was already working while I was still playing at Crowd Goes Wild. And so that really helped. I think 2 years before I had finished netball completely, I had retired from internationals and I said, I don't want to play Ferns or NZA or anything anymore. I just want to focus on club and just like put all into that. And so at the same time, I fell into the job at Crowd Goes Wild. I'd always loved doing the media interviews. I always put my hand up to do the promos and stuff, because I was like, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy to do it. Lots of people hate it. I don't know why they hate it. I love it. So I just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then I think that maybe just got noticed. Cool. And Rick Solezzo, who was the EP of Crowd at the time, Hayley Holt had just gone across to breakfast, I think.
Yeah.
And they needed another female. And James McConey slid into my DMs one day. He's like, what are you up to? I was like, what do you mean what are you up to? I'm playing netball. And he's like, yeah, but what else are you up to? And I'm like, I'm playing netball. Like,
I love that guy.
I didn't realize. I guess I just didn't realize that you have got time to do other things. And Dan taught me that because you were studying while you were playing, and I did not study while I was playing. I was kind of like, F that. So yeah, I had a coffee with Rick, and all we did was talk about people we knew in common. Like he knew he knew Russell or knew of Russell, and he just wanted to talk about rugby because he's big, rugby head. And then finished that coffee, and he's like, sweet, you got the job. I was like, you haven't asked me anything about work or like. Buzzy. He's like, yeah, but you've got it. I can just tell. I was like, cool, okay. And then I just kind of naturally grew, I guess. Like, this Crowd is obviously run by Sky, and then through being around the Crowd studio, people at Sky would say, hey, okay, let's get you to do this Warriors game, or let's get you to do some netball if you're not playing. So it just kind of really naturally grew from there.
Cool.
But yeah, what I was saying is felt very lucky that when I retired, I had something else to kind of as well put my head down and get stuck into, and still be involved with sport, which was cool.
True.
And yeah, it's just kind of slowly been taking off from there.
Such a cool thing too. Crowd Goes Wild, one of the great shows. And then a question I have for you, because like, just going from throwing the ball around to having a microphone in your hand and interviewing people, was there a lot of training, or was it literally like, jump in, you'll be good at this?
Yeah, that was the weird thing about it all, like no training.
Wow.
Which is all good for Crowd, because you learn on the job. And at Crowd, you can appreciate this, setting up a podcast and trying to do it all. Yeah. But there's like 5 of us, and we shoot, we conduct the interviews, we edit, we write the scripts, we sound mix, like we do. You have to do everything.
Yeah.
And you just learn on the job. And if you fucked up or made a mistake, it didn't matter because it was the crowd way. It's like, that's funny. We're going to keep that in. Yeah. So there was no kind of pressure for everything to be perfect. So that's how
it been more perfect.
I know.
Introduction to it.
Well, that's why so many of us are ex-athletes on crowd. And
true.
that's why I think Rick liked having ex-athletes who weren't afraid to just kind of get stuck in and make mistakes and whatever. So that was cool. But then when they were like, hey, you're going to host this Warriors game, I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know how to do that. And there wasn't a lot of training.
Whoa.
So that was interesting. But as I say, lucky that I was learning on the job at crowd. Yeah. And that kind of gave me the foundations, I guess, to get into it.
Credit to you, man. Just learning on the go.
It's easier than it looks.
Yeah.
People think it's hard. It's not that hard.
Yeah. I'm interviewing a guy next week actually who was an ex-NBL basketball player.
Oh yeah.
And he set up a recruitment business that specifically recruits for athletes.
Yeah.
Because he's got this theory, and it's proving to be true, that athletes bring a certain grit, a certain determination, a certain fast learning to their work. So it'll be a really interesting yarn. But it leads me to asking you, Dan, like, with the law, do you feel like, well, first of all, how did you kind of find law to begin with? And then do you feel like after playing rugby for the years that you did, and then entering into law, do you feel like you were a touch behind or in terms of career?
Yeah, man, absolutely. How I got into it is, first question is, I sucked with numbers, Like, I still do. I'm terrible. And at school, I like problem solving, all that sort of stuff, but not with numbers.
Yeah.
So I like problem solving with words, if you can put it that way, and helping people on that, So, last sort of couple of years of high school, I thought, what can I do? And as I said, I like to... that sort of that line of thinking, one does. I could use that as something in my career, form a career path that needs those skills. So I went down the legal path out of school, and it's pretty demanding, but it was all good. Got through it. But in terms of coming out the other side, like you did right. So I ended up studying pretty much part time. Degree took me about six and a bit years in the end. Should take me about 5. But the reason
on the side.
The reason being the first few years I wasn't signed with NPC or anything, so I could study full time. But then sort of back half my degree I was with the NPC stuff, and it was a mare. I couldn't get to any classes, so I was doing less papers. So that's why it took longer to finish. But I came out and finished, and I was finishing up with guys and girls that were probably a couple school years younger than me.
Yeah, well.
Not the end of the world, but you still come out the other side and you start going into the real world. Yeah. Like a grad, fresh grad out of uni, and I'm whatever I was, 24, 5. The other grads are 23. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of that.
Okay.
It could have been worse, but definitely like you see some of your mates that were, from your school friends, the school age, that went down the legal route that are a couple of years ahead of you. Yeah. Got a bit more senior role at a firm or whatever it may be, and like. Initially, you're like, oh, what the heck? But then you realise, well, hang on, the life experience through sport I had before that is a reason why I'm a bit slow now, or a bit behind, sorry. But I reckon it's like the skills you learn. I always say this with Storm, like the two, having like kids and stuff, like this, the team sport thing is, I reckon, massive, like life skills and appreciating others and working in a team, all that sort of thing. I reckon that definitely has helped. Discipline, like, and I think, in the workforce now, I just feel like it's helped me a lot. Yeah. Having those backgrounds,
I love that.
So, it wasn't ideal coming out a bit later than everyone else out of uni, but it washes out in the end. So
100%. I reckon for athletes listening, man, like there's been this theme so far in the first few episodes of this podcast that you've got to be willing to start again, and there's quite a lot of humility that goes with that.
100%.
The company I work for, awesome business. The boss literally called me a passion project. And it's like, and I get why. Obviously, it's a bit of banter, but I get why because he basically looked at my CV and it's like, cool. So you played rugby for 9 years, and you've done a sales job.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. So, and then they took me on and literally as a passion project. And then I do think that I've learned quickly, and caught up, I suppose, as best I can. But the reality is, like, you're kind of 9 to 10 years behind
100%.
some of these other, let's call them CVs. Like some of these guys that I work with have done degrees, been in the workforce, building on their career for another 5 years, you know, and if you just put those two CVs next to each other, yeah, I'm really glad they took on a passion project.
I argue that 9 to 10 years of experience in the workforce is equivalent to like 2 years experience as a professional high performance athlete, right? In terms of the skills outside of tangible things, but you know, the life skills you learn or the discipline like we talked about, it's pretty intense. So for someone to kind of see that in you or understand that that's what you've been through, and I feel like your boss is a bit the same. You're a passion project for him, I'd say.
Yeah, and like, I'm not the smartest dude by any means. Yeah. But like, I think if you're like more well-rounded, you know, like their work ethic, the ability to talk to clients, that sort of stuff, like I reckon it goes quite far.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the passion project, I like that one.
It's good. It's a bit humbling. It was a bit humbling, but I was like, I'll take it to the chin.
A reality check.
But I really love what you said, Storm, because sometimes I do get, I wouldn't say frustrated, but I just really believe in all those lessons you learn in sport. There's so many leadership lessons in sport. There's so many, there's just so many life.
Accountability, you know.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So, no, that's cool. Guys, what does life look like now? What does life...
On any given day. Which day should we pick? You understand, having 2 young ones. Really throws a spanner into it. But I'm what I would call a type A mom. Like, I really like routine and schedule. I feel like I work better in that kind of situation. So I'm trying to think of a good day that we can give as an example to Presto. I don't know, they're all
You do the heavy lifting, so you've got a better idea.
Well,
so you juggle obviously what you need to do as a mum, and then you somehow get in front of camera, you know, which just sounds stressful.
It is, like I said off camera before, like we have a good village. Like our family, well, my family live between Taupo and here, so they're around. Your family are great, just down the road in Green Heights, so we lean on them a lot. My work is flexible, which is good. Flexible in that I can kind of say yes or no to gigs, and it's not peak hour stuff. We have a great daycare. It's a nice 5-minute walk away from our house, so we, you know, everything kind of we're lucky. I will say that we are able to do what we can do. What does the day look like? Morning chaos. Dan, you help me get the kids' breakfast sorted, or Daisy's breakfast. Indigo's obviously not eating, and then you're out the door. Probably stressed to the nine before you've even started work. And then you come home and you pretty much take over from there as well.
Yes,
dinner and bath.
Long days, but like you just got to do it, eh? Like that's the reality. Like
both girls go to bed at 6:30, which is a dream.
They do now.
So like 6:30 to 9:30 is our time, which is key. You know, like those are great hours that we get together.
That's what we discovered with number one. Like the minute she could sleep in her own cot, 6:30 p.m., whatever it may be. Pretty much for the night. The first time we put her down, we were like, have some dinner, watch some TV. Like, it was wicked.
Life's back.
Yeah, like literally, it's such a saviour, right? Like, and then we came to number 2. We were like, okay, well, we know that eventually we want to have them both down probably at 6:30, whatever it is. We're going to have a couple hours in the evening. Got to get to that point. Yeah. But now Storm, like, shout out to Storm, like, my days are long, but I'm not because of work stuff. But like, I'm not the one, for 10 hours got 2 kids. I'd rather be in the office than looking after the 2 little rugrats. That's tiring. On the weekends, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
100%.
So yeah, I got it pretty easy, I reckon.
100%. I've come to the conclusion it's way harder for whoever stays at home or does most of the home.
Totally,
man. Because work is as hard as work is. Like, it's different, right? It's something different, which changes, like, you're using a different part of your brain almost.
Yeah.
When you're only worried about your brain, really, and like you can switch off. Whereas when you're at home, because I go to work for a break as well. I'm not an actual. Don't get me wrong. When you're at home, like you want to switch off, but then you have to think about 2 other humans and what they need and what they're going through, and even when they nap, you can't switch off because there's washing to do or something to clean, or, dinner to sort out or appointments to make. So there's just no time to switch off.
I feel like our 2-year-old is like physically exhausting because she's just on the go.
Yeah.
And the little one, emotionally draining because you're like, oh, what's wrong with her? Why is she not sleeping?
Yeah, and they're not talking.
Exactly. So like, I feel like you're getting whacked. It's just like
2 under 2 is wild. It's been a while.
But very grateful though. Like, it's just epic. Like, such a cool job.
Exclusive club too. I don't have 2 under 2, but exclusive club. Like, you can look at other parents and be like, 2 under 2. Yeah. We've done it.
It's fair to say it wasn't our decision to have 2 under 2, put it that way. But happy mistake.
Cool.
But we probably would have ideally want to have them a little bit wider. But in hindsight, now
we've got through that hump.
2 girls within a couple of years. I can only hope they're going to be like great mates and stuff.
Yeah,
keep each other occupied. And
so you needed that athlete grit in the last 4 months, eh?
Yeah, it's definitely been like that. We're definitely, as I said to you, I feel like just feels like we're just over the worst of it, eh?
Yeah.
Touch wood. So up from here.
Yeah, man. I got a 4-year-old, so like as a dad, like this is just biased from a dad perspective, but it's just gotten better and better. Like even 2 to 4, it's like the conversations now in the back of the car crack me up. Just the questions. What was she
bopping her head along to the other day?
Blue dubba dee dubba da.
That's what it was. That's epic.
You would love that. We should
play that for her.
Yeah, I'm introducing her to all the 2000s.
Yeah,
and I'm like reliving them too. I'm like, yeah, man.
Heck of an era.
How good was Black Eyed Peas?
We actually just got to the age where Daisy can sit down and watch a movie now. So we've been watching like The Lion King. Spirit is a great one. It's about a horse. The Lion King's her new favourite at the moment. And all those old Disney movies. It's like, this is great. When you just want to break, she'll snuggle into you and watch a movie. Like, I'm
excited
for this.
I'm excited for you guys, man. I've watched all the Disneys again.
Yeah. Bit of Moana.
Bro, no
Frozen.
judgment out there, please. But our 4-year-old watches a movie every day. It's like her
Fair
downtime
enough.
Do what you need to
in
do.
the afternoon. Yeah, so it's just living them all, man. Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh.
Bro, highly recommend.
Raya.
Scary? I'm worried it might be
Yeah, maybe not at
Daisy.
2.5. Maybe go, around that late 3-4 stage. But that's a cool story.
Okay.
Real cool story.
Is it a new one?
Rather new.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, last few years. And there's one that always gets me, don't laugh, guys, Inside Out. And
apparently that's super good. But
it's really good.
I haven't seen it.
No, like emotional, it gets you.
Yeah, so I
it's
cry.
deep, it's quite deep.
I've watched it multiple times with Mila. I cry.
Great.
But
Girl dad, you know.
Mila's like stone. She's like, Dad, why are you crying? Like, it's beautiful.
Such a good message.
I don't have to explain to her happy tears, you know. So I'm
There's a difference.
Guys, I've got a couple more questions before I'll let you go. But I was wondering, is there anything about your sport that leaks into your parenting now? Like Mihi's got this thing with me where like either she or one of the girls will be like upset or headache or tired, and I'm like, it's probably just hydration. Let's get some... She'll be like, oh babe, I've got an awful headache, and she's like, oh, I'm so knackered. I'm like, honestly, how much water have you had today? Because 2% decrease in hydration, whatever it was they used to say.
That's such a topical thing, Presto, because that's been huge. Even before we had kids in our relationship, it was huge. Damn, I've got a headache. Have you had water? How much water have you drunk? And yep, definitely, I would agree with that one. Maybe our girls are too young yet to think. I'm trying to think about anything from sport that's gone into our parenting yet.
We do make little passing comments about our potential children, what they may or may not be able to achieve in the sporting realm.
We try not to do
try
that
not
too,
to,
because, you know.
But yeah, little toddler, she's climbing trees and all sorts.
She's a menace.
You know, but I'm trying to think, nothing.
No, not yet. Not yet. I don't know. Apart from, like I said, being strict on routines.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it, eh?
Flexibility, for sure. But, like, I find that the whole household runs and we are all happier and run better when things are, like, set out. Yeah. And that's probably from the discipline from sport.
Harder.
Agreed.
For
That's
sure.
probably the only thing.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Anyone that makes it to a high level in sport, there's a routine and structure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
interesting.
probably it. Just watch the space, I'd say. They're still a bit young.
Yeah, it'll probably be a bigger thing, like, say, a 7 and 9-year-old in the house, and they're getting into sports, and they're getting into their schooling, or what they're passionate about, eh? And then you kind of start to bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to teach Mila how to ride a bike. Right.
Oh, yeah?
Classic dad. I was like, yeah, she's going to have my athletic genes, you know? Never mind the training wheels.
Well, straight into it.
And I took her out. No training wheels. Background to the story is she found the bike at the shop with training wheels on, rode it around the shop. Mihi FaceTimes me. She's like, we got a problem. Yeah. So we got it for Christmas and stuff, and she unwraps it, no training wheels on, because Dad's... No, she's a Presto.
Straight in there.
And she's there's tears. She's like, where's the pedal wheels? And I was like, no, I took them off. so you can learn properly. And then we went and did one lesson. I was like, oh no.
This was a mistake.
This was a mistake. And so she had a bad experience. She didn't fall off or anything, but she didn't have the balance. Like, she's only 4.
Yeah.
And then what happened is I tried to stay firm, and basically 3 months went by. What is it, March? And she never wanted to go on her bike ever. So I got this beautiful pink bike, brand new.
You put some training wheels on there now?
I've done it, bro. I put them back on. Yeah. Totally lost.
Take that L.
Yeah. Put them back on. Now she's loving it again.
Oh,
she's like, let's go for a bike ride. So yeah. Yeah.
You'll get there one day with 2 wheels, mate. You'll get there.
One day, man. One day. So watch this space. I love that. Storm and Dan, appreciate your time. Thank you for jumping on.
Thanks for having us, man.
I really think these conversations are going to encourage people out there. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Disclaimer: definitely not perfect.
No.
Definitely, things we would have done differently for sure.
But it's definitely a part of life. It's tough, Like, especially because people are finishing up back into their 20s or 30s, whatever it may be, and like, it's a bit of potentially a few years you've missed out on, to get things going and 100%. Starting late. So, it all helps. I'm hoping.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Cheers, team.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.